Frances Shoemack is the founder of Abel Odor, a Wellington-based natural perfume company that she launched in 2011 while living in Amsterdam. Frances, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, if we go back to the start, what drove you to launch this company?
Yeah, so I was living in Amsterdam with my husband, as you said, and doing what all good Kiwis do when they live in Europe and visiting as many cities as we can. And I fell in love with the world of niche perfume making. It was so worlds apart from duty free and celebrity kind of endorsed fragrances. And at the time, I was already a very conscious consumer. And so I started looking for a natural perfume within that kind of emerging niche category. And when I couldn't find one, the idea for Abel was born.
You were previously a winemaker at Villa Maria, I believe. How do the
Yes.
two, perfume and wine, correspond?
Yeah, I think my background and training gave me enough confidence to think that I could do it. There was enough similarity that I thought, I've got a trained palate and things like that. So it felt approachable to enter that world of perfume. But to be honest, they're so different. And I think the thing that I draw on the most with Abel is actually just a confidence talking about scent and understanding a scent landscape.
Was it daunting at the start, launching this new business in a foreign country? I mean, how did you even go about that?
I think it was both daunting but also liberating. I've noticed since we moved back to New Zealand, I feel a lot more exposed. I think when you're in a foreign country, it's almost like you feel there's no eyes on you. So in a sense, it felt less risky perhaps. But obviously, the counter side to that is that you don't have the support networks, you don't have people that you can rely on and lean on. So yeah, added to that, I think if you're starting a perfume business, then Europe's a really great place to be. So also logistically, it made things a lot easier.
What prompted you to move back to New Zealand?
We've got two young sons, Rufus and Arthur, and Rufus started school in Holland, and we just kind of hit that tipping point where we thought, oh, we would love for them to have the freedom of running around, in New Zealand. So it was really a family decision. We moved back in January 2020, so extremely good timing given the way things rolled out, and haven't looked back.
Now, I understand that you're raising capital at the moment. How's that going?
Yeah, actually, really well. It's our first capital round, so I really tried to hold off and grow the business organically for as long as we could. But we just see a real opportunity. The category is really changing at the moment. The awareness and the demand for clean perfume is really just kind of starting to burst. So we decided that now was the time to really jump in and kind of explode that growth as a brand. We're having a really great response. So I'm actually heading up to the US in 2 weeks' time, meeting with investors in New York and California, and yeah, there's some really interesting strategic partners out there. So fingers crossed.
And so, are you looking to attract New Zealand as well as offshore investors? And how much are you trying to raise at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love, it would be amazing to have investment close to home, I think, so we could really work together closely. And I think, I work with a Kiwi master perfumer, Isaac Sinclair. He's the only New Zealand nose. And I always say when asked about him, how do you work so well together? And I say, we speak the same language, and so I think it's the same with any Kiwi I come across really on an international stage. So I think at an investment level, that would be really interesting for us, working with a New Zealand partner. We are looking to raise, we're looking US dollar around 1.52 million for this round.
Mm-hmm. Now, at the moment, you're the sole owner, and you and your husband David are the two directors on the board. How will raising capital change this with the direction of the business and perhaps bringing on some more people to the board?
Yeah, I think, look, inevitably it will change things, but I hope and the intention is that that will change things for the better. I think if we can find the right strategic partner, building a board at this time and place would be really beneficial for us as a company. To be honest, even going through the due diligence required to kind of get to this stage has been a really great exercise in getting all our ducks in a row, being super clear about our vision, our direction and things. And so I think the process and structure of having a board would also really help with that.
So have you been taking on external advisors? I know you've done some work with NZTE.
Yeah, NZT have been incredibly helpful. Like I said, when you start in Amsterdam, you have no support network. And, the converse to that is when we moved home, I couldn't believe just the incredible networking community that kind of came alive as soon as we landed. So the support from NZT has been incredible. We've also got, local advisors as well. So we've got someone helping us managing the round with me. We've also a virtual CFO we've been working with for a couple of years now. So I've always loved to have experts around me. I'm not an expert in any area of the business, not the perfume making or anything else. So that's always been really important to me, is to bring in experts.
And with an injection of cash, where do you see the business heading?
So the US is our biggest market already, has been for several years. So that's a real opportunity for us. We're held back at the moment by just limited funds, So our biggest partner in the US, Blue Mercury, they're a high-end beauty store. We're currently in 35 of their stores, I think. They've got around 250 stores. So, the opportunity there with a bit more funding is to reach them all and to do that with the right kind of tools, sales activation, sampling drives, all of those things that support building the brand. So the US market's really interesting for us. It's also the kind of the hub of clean beauty and where we see the clean perfume category emerging. So it's a really important market. And then supporting our other markets offshore, we've got really strong partners. Japan's our second biggest market, Germany, our third biggest. So really going deeper in our big markets already, and kind of the funding will open a lot more doors for us.
Now, you're running an international business from Wellington. How have the border closures and now opening up again affected the way that you do business?
2019, my last year in Europe, I think I did 20 business trips or something like that. I felt like I was on a plane, every other day or week. So it was a big part of building the business at that time. And I knew that would change moving to Wellington. So I was quite eyes wide open about that. But obviously not to the extent. So it's a little bit hard for me to separate how much is COVID and how much is Wellington. But look, I think, like I say, I'm traveling up to the US this month. That'll be my first business trip from New Zealand, which is crazy. And I think in some ways COVID has made it easier for Kiwi businesses to do business internationally, I think, because so much has gone online. We're not at the kind of travel disadvantage, let's say, that I think we would have been 2 or 3 years ago. So let's hope the net outcome is kind of positive for us.
So where do you see the company and yourself being in 10 years' time?
Yeah, so we really we want this funding to enable us to be the category leaders in the clean perfume movement. At the moment, there's only a dozen brands in that space, which is pretty incredible if you compare it to, for example, clean beauty, which is a close to $6 billion industry. It's been growing a CAGR of around 12 to 15% the last however many years. So it's really on a growth trajectory and highly saturated with brands. Clean perfume is just emerging within that category. So it's a really exciting time and we want to grow as that grows and kind of cement our leadership roles. So to answer your question, yeah, we hope to be, let's say, the leading clean perfume brand across the world.
Great. Frances, thank you so much for your time.